Remember that one weird-looking car your uncle used to drive? The one that felt like a spaceship or looked like a fridge on wheels? Yeah, chances are that car came from a brand that no longer exists. Today, we're taking a cruise down memory lane. We're spotlighting 15 auto brands that once ruled the roads but have since disappeared in the rearview mirror. These once promising car brands were cruising toward greatness until they hit a dead end. Some were bold innovators, others got lost in the corporate shuffle, but all of them had their moment to shine quietly, disappearing into the rearview mirror of history. Let's start with a name you probably do remember: DeLorean. Yep, that DeLorean. The stainless steel dream made famous by Back to the Future. But before it became a time machine, the DeLorean DMC-12 was a real car and a bold attempt to shake up the automotive world. Founded in 1975 by John DeLorean, the company aimed to be futuristic and different. Sleek stainless steel and fitted with gull-wing doors, the DeLorean was ahead of its time. Unfortunately, poor performance, production delays, and a very public scandal involving John DeLorean himself drove the company into bankruptcy by 1982. Only about 9,000 units were ever made. Still, you'll see one every now and then at a car show, looking like it's ready to jump through time. Number 2. Packard. Ask the man who owns one. That was Packard's slogan, and for a while it worked. Founded in 1899, Packard built some of the finest luxury cars in the U.S. Known for craftsman and elegance, Packard was a top-tier brand from the 1900s to the 1950s. But as the market shifted after World War II, Packard struggled to stay modern. Merging with Studebaker in 1954 didn't help. They were both struggling. The last true Packard rolled off the line in 1958, and just like that, an American icon was gone. Number 3. Saab Automobile. Born from a Swedish aircraft company in 1945, Saab made quirky, safe, turbocharged cars for people who didn't want to drive what everyone else was driving. They were pioneers in safety and turbotech, but financial trouble hit hard. Following multiple ownership changes and a rocky relationship with General Motors, Saab went bankrupt in 2011. Fans still love them, but Saab never quite made it mainstream. Number 4. Pontiac. From the 1969 GTO and the Firebird to the Trans Am, Pontiac made cars that screamed, "Let's go!" For decades, Pontiac was GM's performance brand. Pontiac was flashy, fast, and fun. But by the 2000s, sales were falling and GM was bleeding money. In the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, Pontiac was officially discontinued in 2010. Number 5. Nash Motors. Nash Motors wasn't the average car company. It was focused on quiet innovation. They gave us the first American compact car and even seatbelts before they were cool. Founded in 1916, Nash brought us heating and ventilation systems. But as competition heated up, Nash merged with Hudson in 1954 to stay alive. The result was American Motors Corporation, a move that made sense on paper but didn't quite save the day. Number 6. Hudson. If you've watched Cars, you've met Doc Hudson, but long before animation, Hudson was killing it on the racetrack. Hudson cars were performance beasts. The Hudson Hornet dominated stock car racing in the early 50s. Hudson's low-slung step-down design gave it great handling and a strong fan base. But financial troubles led them to merge with Nash in 1954. And like a racer running out of fuel, the Hudson name was gone by 1957. Number 7. American Motors Corporation, AMC. AMC was the love child of Nash and Hudson, and boy did they try hard to stand out. The underdog of Detroit, they gave us bold, sometimes oddball cars. From the tiny Gremlin to the futuristic Pacer, AMC leaned into weird, and we kinda loved it. But the big automakers had bigger wallets. Even Jeep, which AMC acquired, couldn't save them. Chrysler bought AMC in 1987, and the brand faded away. Studebaker. Studebaker started with wagons, pulled by horses. In the 1850s, they built carriages. By the 1900s, they were making stylish cars and held on for decades with classy designs and innovation. Known for reliability and design, Studebaker just couldn't keep up with the big three. A failed merger with Packard and declining sales led to their end in 1966. Mercury was like Ford's cool cousin. It was nicer, slightly pricier, and definitely more stylish. Created in 1938, Mercury aimed to bridge the gap between Ford and Lincoln, but over time it lost its unique identity. By 2011, Ford pulled the plug, and Mercury became just another memory. Number 10. Willys Overland. Before Jeep became Jeep, there was Willys Overland. They gave the U.S. military the original Jeep. The military Jeeps were rugged, boxy, and unstable. But after World War II, Willys began producing for the civilian market. Eventually, the company was absorbed into Kaiser and later AMC. The Willys name faded, but their rugged DNA lives on in every Jeep Wrangler today. Ever heard of Eagle? If not, you're not alone. Eagle was created after Chrysler acquired AMC in the 80s and wanted to compete with Japanese imports. The brand offered sporty, rebadged imports, producing some cool cars like the Talon Boot. But the brand never really stood out. Branding confusion and lackluster sales led to its demise. It quietly disappeared in 1998, and honestly, most people didn't even notice. Number 12. Geo. Geo was like your thrifty neighbor. It was practical, economical, but kind of forgettable. Launched by GM to sell affordable, fuel-efficient vehicles in the 80s and 90s, Geo was basically a badge engineering experiment. They were built in partnership with Suzuki, Isuzu, and Toyota. They were everywhere in the 90s and gone by 2004. GM folded Geo into Chevrolet and the badge disappeared. Number 13. DeSoto. Chrysler introduced DeSoto in 1928 as a mid-priced brand, and for a while it worked. But by the late 1950s, Chrysler had too many brands competing for the same buyers. DeSoto was slowly squeezed out. The last one rolled off the line in 1961. Stylish, but short-lived. Number 14. Oldsmobile. Founded in 1897, Oldsmobile was one of America's oldest automakers. It introduced innovations like the first mass-produced car and automatic transmission. But GM couldn't figure out where Oldsmobile fit anymore. It wasn't sporty like Pontiac, luxurious like Buick, or entry-level like Chevy. In 2004, after a 107-year run, Oldsmobile became history. Number 15. Checker Motors. If you ever rode in a taxi back in the day, you were probably in a Checker. These boxy beasts were the standard for cabs for decades. While they made a few passenger cars, they're best remembered for their durability. But they couldn't compete with mass production, and the last Checker rolled off the line in 1982. From innovative beginnings to forgotten endings, each of these brands left their mark on the road and in our memories. Maybe you owned one, maybe you've only seen them in movies, but either way, they're part of automotive history and live on in junkyards, museums, and the hearts of car lovers everywhere. If you enjoyed this ride down memory lane, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Got a favorite defunct car brand? Let us know in the comments.